What's happening, guys? Welcome back to another movie review here on Action Industries. My name is Ben Bateman. Today we're talking about the brand new film Reminiscence, starring Hugh Jackman, RebeccaFerguson, my boy Cliff Curtis, Tandy Newton, and directed by Lisa Joy. Lisa Joy, of course, a longtime collaborator, creator, and co-producer on Westworld. She also had Jonathan Nolan, Christopher Nolan's brother, on this film as a producer. Let's start there. Jonathan Nolan on this film calls to mind Christopher Nolan, and Christopher Nolan directed a film called Inception that so many of us love. This movie, in a lot of ways, feels like a combination of ideas from Inception, the movie Serenity, which was like this weird noirish thriller techno thing with Matthew McConaughey and Anne Hathaway from a couple years ago. It doesn't have the same plot points as those movies, but a lot of the vibe of the movie is basically just those two films combined, trying to throw in sort of a little bit of like a dystopian Chinatown kind of a feel to it. I'm going to get to the rest of the review here in a second, non-spoiler, of course, but do me a favor, guys, if you like what we're doing here on the channel, hit that subscribe button and a thumbs up on this video. And of course, after the video, if you have thoughts, if you have questions, leave a comment. They go a long way into building the channel. All right, guys, let's get back to the review. Where this movie works, it works very well. Where this movie doesn't work, it totally misses the mark. What is the coolest thing about this movie? I think the coolest thing about this movie has to be the fact that they went in to try to capture kind of a really interesting setting, and I think a lot of the world building they do with this movie is really successful. So the premise of the movie when it opens is that the waters rose at some point. It takes place in Miami. There are basically high ground areas that have been risen with dams around them that the rich people live in. It's like still the real world, and then everything else is just underwater. And so people walk around in rain boots, and then just a lot of the major city is just it's underwater. So the premise of the film is that you can go in and like sort of relive your memories in this machine, and Hugh Jackman runs a business where he does that for people, and he sometimes helps solve crimes that way. He's sort of a working stiff. The movie ends up being this sort of neo-noir romance kind of a thing when he meets Rebecca Ferguson's character, and from there the mystery unfolds. I'm not going to spoil the movie for you guys, but where the movie, I think, falls flat is when it tries to get into that noir story, all of that sort of Chinatown-esque stuff. Not because I think that the moments that stuff works aren't cool. The moments that stuff works are very cool. The moments where it starts to get convoluted and the plot doesn't feel like it makes sense and they've jumped from one thing to another, that's where the movie starts to lose it for me. I do understand that the original cut of this film was 2 hours and 30 minutes, and so this movie being an hour and 58, obviously probably a lot of those transitional scenes and a lot of the backstory on some of the weaker plot points probably did get cut out of the film, would be my guess. I have to say probably my favorite stuff in this movie, I'm a big Jackman fan. Many of you guys who watch this channel know I'm a huge Hugh Jackman fan, and while Tom Cruise is the best runner in the business, Jackman's the best yeller in the business. He has that Logan angry, confused look, and he yells really well. And so I was hooked on the trailer for this film, in which he holds a gun and looks confused and angry and yells. And he does that in this film very well. But the funny thing is that while people are under and they have the Reminiscence device on to go relive their memories, you see this in the trailer, you hear the voiceover where he's like, you're going on a journey, or I may be quoting the Inception line that they say to each other on the train track. It's such a similar line in such a similar setting. It's hard to not feel like that's what you're living in.
You're going on a journey through memory. All you have to do is follow my voice.
But what's great about it is as the movie goes on and Jackman gets angrier and angrier, he at one point has somebody under, and it's normally Jackman, who is the calm voice of reason, who is like walking you through your memory, right? He'll be talking to you through a little microphone while you're under, and he'll be like, you're going down a path. It's a very special journey. What was the first time you saw her? Like that'll be how he's talking in the thing. So once he gets angry, he's like, you're going down a path, you son of a bitch. I'm gonna get you. And they're under, so they have to listen to angry Jackman be angry. It's very funny, and kind of extra, and I laughed and found it to be very entertaining. Now, I think the worst stuff in this movie is the confusing plot stuff. That's where I think this movie misses the mark the most. I can't decide if I think this movie needs to be seen in a theater. It was cool to see a lot of the set pieces in the design. A lot of the things they came up with to build this world, like the fact that nobody is awake during the day. Everybody sleeps during the day and is awake at night. Or the fact that, like, in all of their apartments, for instance, there's no working water. They have, like, water in jugs and stuff like that. just like a lot of the little things like that I thought were like very interesting and cool flourishes, but also some of it was just unexplained. Certainly not a bad movie in the way that some films I've seen recently, like Snake Eyes was quite bad, Don't Breathe was quite bad. Pretty entertaining movie. I'm glad they cut it down to an hour 58. I think I would have been most satisfied with this movie had it actually just been a romance. I think the haunting nature of him having met someone and then trying to relive his memories of this person, sort of in an effort to experience, like, that's like sort of the premise of the movie is like Jackman meets this beautiful woman played by Rebecca Ferguson, and a lot of the movie is him reliving the memories of her as he's trying to piece together what really happened and all that sort of stuff. And I think a lot of that stuff, the really kind of haunting romance stuff, is really strong. And those are the parts of the movie that really stood out to me. But it is that thing where they could never make that movie. They had to make this movie. And I imagine a version of the script that probably had a lot less exciting stuff and had to get punched up. And then they shot it and it was too long and they had to cut it down. And then this is the movie that we got. So one of those movies, very ambitious, a very cool idea. Doesn't quite get there. I think I'd recommend it though. Jackman does what he does best. Ferguson's fantastic. The bad parts aren't great, but I mean, this is still a fun movie. I enjoyed it, and I was there. Like I was locked in, right? I didn't want to leave the theater, which sometimes these days I do want to leave the theater. So that's going to be my review, non-spoiler, of course, here for Reminiscence. Check it out. It opens tomorrow, or I should say, well, yes, it does. It opens tomorrow in theaters, and I believe it's also going to be on Disney Plus. That's going to be on the 19th here of August. So if you guys enjoyed this review, do me a favor, leave a comment, hit like, hit subscribe. We are growing the channel, doing tons of trailer reactions, movie reviews, live streams all the time. That really helps. It absolutely 100% helps grow the channel. So thanks for watching this. Enjoy yourself, and go enjoy Hugh Jackman yelling and being intense. Thank you.